Well, welcome everybody. Happy Thursday. It's a pleasure to be back. Justin and myself and Kelley will be running the AMA today. And we're going to focus in on questions, common questions that have come up regarding the Celsius refinance and address any of the questions that you have today. And just to frame it for everybody of where we are in the timeline and what our expectations are, is we are still working off of the date of January 31st as the target date after which we'll be able to work with you to refinance your Celsius loans. And in preparation with that, we are have a deadline set for the end of day Friday, midnight Friday, Mountain Time, to have anybody that wants to be for priority processing to get their loan application or request in. And we can provide more information about that as we go through. And then we will start working with Celsius in terms of batching those up and queuing those loans up for repayment. And so we can, if there's any questions on that, we can talk about that. But what we'll do is kick off today. Justin and I will go through a number of the questions that have come up, both in terms of the conversations Justin's been having, as well as what's come into our customer support to make sure everybody has access to that information and understanding. And then we'll happy to be open up the floor as questions come up from all of you. Justin, are you online now?
Test 1, 2, 3. How's that?
Fantastic.
Excellent. There you go. Much better.
Welcome aboard, and would love for you to give just a little bit of, I guess, framing up your conversations, especially in the past week as things have started to ramp up.
Absolutely. Good to have everyone here. Looking forward to this next couple of weeks. It's going to be a flurry, but at the end of the day, we're very excited to get everyone to a situation where they can move on with their lives, and very happy to talk to everybody. Just keep your requests rolling. A lot of conversation around deadlines and what to expect. There is a significant amount of demand, obviously, as you guys know. So just be patient if you're not gotten to right away. Salt is working through a large queue of people, and ultimately we're reacting pretty well to this. So our bandwidth, even though it's low, I'm really happy with our team's turnaround time and response time in general. So looking forward to answering more continued questions. So a few things that we have that were interesting was everyone was curious about the deadline that is tomorrow around midnight. So that's I want to just make sure that everyone understands that you need to get those in. In terms of the actual questions, like mechanically, a ton of questions have been asked about WPE. We'll touch on that later. And then the question around when is the effective date, when our refi is going to happen. We'll also touch on that briefly later as we go through some of the questions. So there is a lot of engagement, a lot going on, and we're giving you guys the absolute best up-to-date information as we get it, and looking forward to having people come up and talk to them and answer their questions. So thanks, Hunter.
Perfect. Why don't we jump in, and I just will start off of building on what Justin had said, and just to reiterate regarding Salt's deadline of Friday at midnight Mountain Time this week, tomorrow. That is a deadline to be eligible for priority processing. As we've communicated, we will be working with Celsius to batch the loans up and get those processed as quickly as possible. And what we are doing is basically prioritizing all the loans that we get in by the end of this week for that priority processing. We still will get to other loans, but just want to be clear that we're trying to just sort of acknowledge and respect the sort of fact that people got in the requests this week, get those bundled up, and then we'll start processing the rest of them as quickly as we can. Another question that has come up, it's in a number of different channels, is once you have made your loan application with Salt, you should be expecting an email from Pact Safe, and it will come from either Trevor or Dan, who are members of the loan ops team at Salt, and they're our senior loan officers, to request your signatures. So that is a legitimate email, and it means that your loan has been accepted through the underwriting process. And so if you do have any questions about that, don't hesitate to reach out to sales@saltlending.com or support@saltlending.com. But that has come up, whether that's a legit email or not, and it is. So we just wanted to confirm that.
Yeah, a quick little point on that one. There is there is a verification needed there. So if you feel like, even though you got the email and you feel like that might be a fraudulent one, I'd always err on the side of caution. But yes, we have been getting a lot of those. And if just to double check, if you feel necessary, you can take a screenshot. You can send it to me on Telegram. You can send an email to our sales team, and we're more than happy just to verify it for you, because the last thing we want is some kind of phishing scam that affects our Celsius creditors and future Salt teams. So feel free to double check if necessary. But as Hunter said, they're definitely they're definitely legitimate, and they're from the Pack Safe email. Feel free to double check though, and always, like we always say in the Bitcoin space, don't trust, verify. So we're happy to verify for you.
All right, moving on to the next question that has come up. In your loan agreements, if you have received them, you will notice that there is a stablecoin address as well as a USDC address. These are the USDC address is Salt's treasury address, and the stablecoin address is a holding address for us to use with Celsius. So we will replace it with whatever address they end up providing us to pay off each individual loan. And so, just people, we've gotten a question about what those addresses are. So, those are placeholders for us now as we are preparing the loans in collaboration with Celsius. And then, building on that theme, there's also been questions we've received around updating any of the loan agreement terms or information. We are in the process of doing that. We have a number of updates that are queued, and we're waiting for those to go through processing. So that should go out this morning. So if you're waiting on something to be updated in your loan agreements, you should hear from the team later today. And if you don't, please reach out. Justin, one of the other questions that has come up has been around the making sure everybody understands the three different payment options for the loans that they have the ability to select from or request. I know that the team has updated the calculator. Do you want to provide a little bit of an overview of what that calculator is now and how they can request a copy?
Certainly, more than happy to cover that topic. We have updated the calculator for anyone who's interested. Feel free to reach out to sales@saltlending.com to obtain a new link for it. But if you already have the link, obviously you can jump into it and create a copy for yourself. And we've updated it for the three options that we have, which is the principal and interest, interest only, and then the fully financed loan. So essentially, those three are now updated in the calculator, where you can put in the numbers to see what your loan would look like, which will give you a lot of transparency and give you some more data to work with, so you can have and make yourself an educated decision. So if you want that new calculator and an update, then go ahead and feel free to reach out to us, and we're more than happy to send it over to you. It's been a very popular tool that we've been using over the past few weeks, and it's really helped a lot of people to digest and understand where they're going to be roughly sitting at. Obviously, you can't get exact numbers because the effective date and the date of the refinance haven't been officially pronounced, but at this junction, it gives you a really good idea of what you're looking at for LTVs, and really helpful information for any data that you're gonna want to use for the three options that we have now. More than happy to send it over to you guys. Feel free to reach out to sales@saltlending.com.
Thanks, Justin. And if any of these discussions are spurring questions or comments, please, we would welcome you up to ask a question or engage in a discussion with us today. I'll keep going through another item that has come up is just to understand a bit of the process in terms of what we're sending and what we're expecting to receive from Celsius in terms of the crypto. So we will be paying off the loan to Celsius in stablecoin based on the amounts, one, that you enter into your loan request or application, and then the amounts that we confirm with Celsius. Then they will be sending us the BTC or ETH whichever you have elected to be paid out, both the amount relating to the principal as well as the excess collateral. And that will really create the foundation of your loan in terms of the collateral that you'll be borrowing against. If there is a case where you have excess collateral that goes above the originating LTV that you have agreed, you will be able to then withdraw that collateral out of SALT down to the amount that's been specified in your loan agreements. And then the last key update that I have, Justin, then I'll hand it over to you, is really to update on California and other jurisdictions. We are making great progress and are actively working through all applications in all jurisdictions on a case by case basis, especially all those that are associated with the Celsius bankruptcy and a refinancing opportunity. So we will continue to process and underwrite anything that you submit. If there are any questions, happy to address them today, but you can also reach out to sales@saltlending.com regarding your specific scenario if you are unsure at this point. Justin, I'll hand it over to you if there's anything else, one, you want to add to that or any other points that you want to make before questions.
Nope, that's great. If people aren't going to be asking questions, then it sounds like we've done our job very well, Hunter. Hopefully, everyone has all their questions answered at this point. The one of the main focuses we've been talking with, and has been a really hot topic lately, is the WPE item. So the clawback provisions that Celsius, the debtor, has enacted through bankruptcy, and for those that are working through this in detail with us and the debtor, just remain patient. There's a handful of people that are a little bit confused by it. Just know that we're a little bit confused by it too. At the end of the day, we don't have the full answers for the WPE situation right now. However, that it will get resolved. We've made this a priority. Excuse me. It's a priority for us to go through and talk to the debtor about this and each individual client. I'm personally CCing clients that have WPE exposure or withdrawal preference exposure, excuse me, in these instances, and it's a little bit complicated because there is the official stance on it is if you don't get it resolved, then there might be some delays on your refinance. Again, we're working through that with the debtor right now to get clarity on how this is going to function and mechanically how it's going to work, because you have options of paying it back or giving the WPE back to the debtor, and we're working on to see if that can come through possibly the vehicle of earn or excess collateral. In those are some of the discussion topics about the WPE. So that's one thing I want to just point out. The last notion is there's a lot of confusion around. I just want to just restate what Hunter said earlier about the stablecoin addresses. That's one of our, actually, it's probably one of our top three questions that we get all the time. So when you're actually actively submitting your loan request and going through the loan docs process with their underwriting team and loan operations, the one of the most frequent asked questions is about the stablecoin address. So make sure that when you are going through the process of that, make sure you just reach out to loan support about that one. There's a placeholder for that you can put in there, and that placeholder is, it's right now it's insignificant because for the large majority of people, they're not getting any funds into their stablecoin payout address, since ultimately we're working with debtor and refinancing over to us. So just to be clear on the mechanics, that's not necessary at the moment. But if you reach out to loan support at that junction, when you get to that point, they're just going to give you a placeholder address, and also sales can give you that placeholder address as well. So that is, we get that question probably 5 to 10 times a day at least. So just to clear that up for everybody who has questions about that. But for now, I'd love to have people come up here and ask questions. Hunter and I are here to address anything and give you our best answers that we can give you. So thank you.
Thanks, Justin. Yeah, I would welcome anybody up if anybody has a question. Justin, while we are waiting, do you want to give a little bit of an overview? We had talked about it last week regarding the Salt Lend program as a new offering that we are making available for accredited investors. Let's when we come back to that, I think we had oh I think they went away. But do you want to address and give a little bit of an overview? Oh, let me go. Let me jump over to Jackie, who has a question. Jackie, we'd love to have you ask your question.
Hey, Jackie.
Hello. Yeah, I have a general question about when I opted into refi. I was reading something in Telegram today that got me a little bit nervous. I opted into refi, but I also checked that I wanted my distribution in Bitcoin. Did I screw that up?
Good question, Jackie. I appreciate it. No, you didn't screw it up. So just to be clear, what a lot of people are doing when they're opting in for a refi, Jackie, is they're just clicking that because they're hoping that they're going to get that back. But the true answer to that is that you're going to get back what you basically had in. So in the refi, when you check out the refi, you're signifying to Stretto that you're ultimately when you do a refinance, and then you're going to get back either you had Bitcoin or Ethereum as options, and if you had any other alternative coin, then obviously most people know that that's sold and then converted into Bitcoin or Ethereum. So you're going to get back what you put in. So it doesn't really matter too much what you select on the, as far as we know, it doesn't matter too much what you select on the ballot.
Okay, because I probably should have left it blank, but I read somebody saying something about if you check something off, then you were going to get like straight to set off. Okay, what about the part that the extra? I know there's the extra part of the loan, the over collateralized part that goes into earn. Is that Bitcoin as well? Do you know?
Yeah, great question. We've been told a couple different things on the earn side. So obviously this is through just knowledge base around what we've heard, Jackie. So over the past few weeks, it's been a lot of back and forth on this one. For earn, we've heard two things. One, that you're going to get back what you had in. And then we also heard that there was a half and half deal going on where you receive what they can give you in both Bitcoin and ETH because they have only certain amounts of each holding. Right now we're not leaning any direction on that one. So what I'll do is I'll follow up on that question, Jackie, and see if I can't get an answer directly from the debtor for you, so that way I can get official information on it.
Okay, great. And one last quick thing. I'm in California. I've called in the last two MAs. I heard you give the update regarding California. Is there any like a timeline, a deadline of, okay, it's got to be done, or we have to hear something in California by this day, or you're out? I did do the survey, wrote my story. Any dates I should be keying in on?
So, Jackie, we fully expect to be able to service those loans. We will, if that is not going to be the case, then we will communicate prior to refinancing commencing. But everything that we are doing in California and the other jurisdictions is very positive, and we're working through all the applications on a case by case basis. But we will communicate if we are unable to be able to fund the loans, we will communicate that out early next week or before the refinancing begins.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Jackie.
Jackie.
Justin, yeah, while we wait for other questions, want to go back to what we were getting to around the Salt Lend program for people that are accredited investors and interested in potentially putting some of their excess crypto and assets to use, especially USDC or USDT. Can you give an overview of that program?
More than happy to. So this has been a really cool program. We launched it very recently. For those who have been following the AMAs, we did this just last month where we announced this. And this product has been pretty popular. Ultimately, what it really boils down to is, as a very simple way to put it, you give us your USDC/USDT, you get a yield from that. Right now it's 8%, I believe. Hunter, correct me if I'm wrong on that one. And ultimately you're able to earn a yield with us. So basically the way I look at it, which is not financial advice, but it has the ability to help you lower these higher costs of borrowing these days until things hopefully settle down the next year or so. So to me, that's been my perspective on it. But in terms of the process, what has happened is we've talked to individuals who, especially pertaining to Celsius creditors, we talked to individuals about their earn accounts, and a lot of people have been interested in taking their earn accounts and putting it into the lend investment. And just to be clear, as Hunter said, this is an accredited investor only product. We're not offering this just straight out to retail as an open-ended loop here for everybody. That's who knows what the future holds. But for right now, it's a accredited investor product, and we've seen really good interest in it, and we're looking forward to helping people help offset their APR. And blended rates are looking pretty good for most people. And the steps are really quite simple. You can go to Salts and you can either create an account first or go to the accredited investor portal, and then you attest, and then you get that done. And then once you do that, then you talk with the sales team and the loan support, and we can facilitate that stablecoin for you and put it into your lend investment account. And so ultimately, if you have any questions about it, please reach out to sales@saltlending.com. More than happy to have a conversation about how you can generate yield as an accredited investor.
Thanks, Justin. And there is more information if you're interested at saltlending.com/lend. It will give more details and provides the link that Justin had referred to in terms of being able to request some additional information. And that program really came to be on the back of requests from you and others to be able to get access to and tap into the over collateralized loan book that SALT has. And so this program has been designed to help give people that exposure in a measured and managed way. So again, just to reiterate, if you have questions or interest, go to saltlending.com/lend, and we'd love to share more details with you. Jeremiah, thanks for coming up. Would love to have you ask your question.
Hey, Jeremiah.
Yeah. Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
We can.
Certainly.
Great. Well, first of all, thank you guys for doing this. This is really helpful, and hopefully we can make it out of this thing alive. But my first question is, can you explain the information on SALT's landing page, not landing page, but within the portal under the loan request tab? It talks about awaiting collateral.
Yeah, I'm more than happy. I'll take that question. So I just want to be clear. I understand the question properly. So you're saying that you're inside your account and you're doing a loan request. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're at the stage where it says awaiting collateral, reach out to, I'm assuming you submitted the loan request, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So then ultimately the loan support team is just, how long has it been there for? Has it been like a day or something like that, roughly?
Maybe 4 to 5 days.
Okay. Do me a favor. And are you on Telegram?
I am on Telegram.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and DM me with your email address, and I'll forward that over to the support team, and we'll get that unlocked for you. So it seems like they're just getting to you in terms of the queue, I would think, but I'll just do a double check for you, because just to give you some comfort though, there's nothing wrong. There's no issues there. I think it's just because of the bandwidth issue. So ultimately, I'll make sure that that's addressed for you and get you in the loop. Essentially, you just need to get some loan docs in front of you at this point. That's what that screen is sitting there saying to you. But we essentially just reach out to me, and I'll make sure that gets taken care of for you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it instructed me to just continue and deposit Bitcoin as collateral. And I was like, I don't know if I need to do that just
Yeah,
yet.
no, you don't. And do you have any idea what your LTV is going to be?
I think it's 30%. Yeah, starting
Okay,
LTV.
great. So then, and I'm assuming you use the calculator to figure out the numbers for yourself.
I have not.
Okay,
No.
I would encourage that. So yeah, you can reach out to me and I'll give you the calculator too as well. So we'll do that at the same time, and then we can get you that calculation, because it does make a difference. If you're at 70% LTV, then you're going to have 11.95 if you're APR. If you're at 50% and below, then you're going to be at 10.95 APR. So there's a difference there. I'll circle back with you, get the calculator going, and we can get you fully fleshed out in terms of what your actual rate will look like and your LTV. That way I can bring that to the loan support team.
Okay, and can you just remind me, I might not be in the correct Telegram group. I'm in one called Celsius Loans. I don't think that's the correct one.
Nope, that's the correct one. That's the right one there. Yeah, just go ahead and
Oh,
go
nice.
ahead and fill. I tend to chat a lot in there to help people out. You'll see me there as Justin, and I'll have the SALT logo on my avatar. So if you
Oh,
Yep,
that's right.
that's me
Okay.
there. Just go ahead and click on me and give me a DM and be more than happy to help you.
Okay, cool. And then here's another question. Do you guys know the percentage of collateral that Celsius intends to release after Salt pays off the loans?
We don't have those numbers yet. Hunter, I'm not sure if you have heard anything
Okay.
about that, but I do know that there's a I can't, this is not fact. This is obviously a rumor. I'm going to declare that as such. But we've heard that the recovery could be slightly higher than initially thought. So the haircut's 32%. We saw some things with, I think, on Simon's Twitter space or whatever, and a couple other people talking about this, where it could be the recovery could be a little bit better, but we're not counting on that until we hear the official language from the debtor. That's the only language we've heard about in terms of the percentages itself.
Great, thank you. And last question, is there any category of people that you would not recommend to refinance their loans?
That's a really good question. I've never been asked that one before, Jeremiah. Good question.
Yeah, I was thinking I was looking at the different, just comparing Lebanon and Salt and some of the other figure, I think. And I think one thing said, oh, if you have a loan that's under $500, then you can't refinance that with some companies. Like it has to exceed a certain amount. Things like that. There's certain factors that would mean, like, oh, you should just stick with the set off plan based on the capital you have locked up.
Yeah, obviously I'm a little bit biased, so obviously.
For
But
sure, yeah.
that being said, if I'm to put my objective hat on for a moment, take my salt hat off for a second, I would just say that if I was in someone else's shoes, I would be refinancing regardless. I wouldn't do a set off. That's the best way I'm going to be able to answer this question, because ultimately, yeah, if there's parameters, Salt has a minimum of $1,000 for a loan. So if you're below $1,000, we're not going to be able to service you. But there's only been, I think, one or two people we've actually had to say no to because it's been below $1,000. So that's been the exception, not the rule for us. But in terms of the actual clarity on whether you should do a set off or whether you should do a refinance, we obviously believe that you should do a refinance. However, all that being said, some people are emotionally charged about this and just want to move on, and we understand that. We've had quite a handful of people do set offs as opposed to refinances, and we fully empathize with that. The situation is not cool, and I've been working with hundreds of people on this, and we worked through with people to the very end, and they said, you know what, we just don't want to have to worry about it anymore. So they took a set off. But all that being said, logically speaking, in terms of math, I think that the numbers are pretty obvious that if you are a Bitcoin bull or you believe it long term, then if you believe in this space long term, then having more leverage and having more opportunity to regain some of your US dollar value back by holding more Bitcoin in your loan is, in our opinion, a smart move. So mathematically, I think that it's unchallengeable to say that having less Bitcoin is better than having more Bitcoin. The only question is the loan itself. Those are
Yeah.
the main questions there. So we've had this discussion multiple times, and whenever I talked with people on sales calls, Nathan and others have done a great job with this. Basically, what it really boils down to is, can you sustain a loan for a year? And is that worthwhile to you if you believe the market's going to have a positive impact on the price of US dollars? If you do think
Yeah.
that, then we think it's an obvious choice.
Yeah. And I think that's why most people switched to Celsius at the time for that very
Yep.
reason.
No, you're
They believe the market would sustain over time. And, oh, you can refinance with us for 5 years. You can keep playing those cards. But yeah, man, that's really helpful. That answers my question. And I do believe in the long run. I was not orange pilled by a day trader. I was orange pilled by Michael Saylor. So, man, I'm in it. I'm in it for life, baby. But that's all I got for you, man. Thanks for your
love that. No, I
answers.
love the enthusiasm. I'm the same way. Jeremiah, thank you for the question.
Yeah, thank you. And
Yeah.
and one thing to add to the conversation and discussions that we've had, the other scenario where people are considering not refinancing is based on a consultation with your tax advisor. If your purchase price compared to the petition date price, and if you have a loss and there is a reason for you from a tax perspective, then that might be something to consider. That's been the other scenario that's come up. As Justin said, if that really then even depends on your take on what you want to do in terms of having access to and holding the asset longer term. But that has been the other discussion point that has come up. Fantastic. We would welcome anybody else if there's any other questions out there. We have covered all the key topics and questions that have come in through customer support and sales over the last week. But happy to continue answering questions, but we'll only do so if it's of use and value to everybody.
Yeah, while we're waiting for a question, if one does come, I just want to just go ahead and chime in for a moment and say that I literally just got 2 questions during the space about the deadline tomorrow. I'm gonna repeat that one more time. Basically, what it boils down to is get in your application and get it finalized as soon as you possibly can. The loan ops team is working through a large list, and this is why we've been pushing this for the past few months as much as we could, always reiterate and kick a dead dog on the road. Basically, just make sure that you get it in as soon as you can, because the sooner you get it in, the better it's going to be. There's a lot of people who had missed the Stretto refinance deadline as well. If I just got that question here about 10 minutes ago. If you did, I would reach out directly to Stretto and ask them or tell them that you wish to refi. And in this individual's case, they didn't receive an email or they couldn't find the email from Stretto. We've found that to have happened probably 10% of the time, roughly. It seems like the emails that went out by them were misplaced or had issues, maybe going to your spam junk mail folders in your emails or whatever. So if you did have an issue with that, I would reach out directly to Stretto and just express to them that you wish to refi, but you never got the document to be able to check that off and send back to them. Do that as soon as you possibly can. The longer you wait, the less chance you have, in my opinion, of getting a refinance conducted, and instead you'll receive a set off. That's because they haven't received any communication from you. So just wanted to throw that in there, Hunter.
Thanks for that, Justin. I think it's a great clarification. We'll make one last call for questions, and if there are none out there today, then we will call that a wrap and allow everybody to continue on with their days. Kelley, do we have any other requests?
Nope, none that I can see.
Okay. As always, we greatly appreciate everybody showing up today and sharing your day with us, engaging in the conversation. At SALT, we're here to support the community, especially everybody that is going through the Celsius refinance. We look forward to engagement in the future. Thanks again for your time today, and stay long, stay liquid, and stay salty. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.